What's going on, guys? It's your boy LQ, Mr. Real Deal Fantasy HQ, fire content only. Here today to talk about Tyreek Hill is a Miami Dolphin. People, what is going on in the offseason? I mean, we can thank my Rams, for this all-in attitude, all this all-in strategy for going to go get your guys at all costs. Like musical chairs with quarterbacks, musical chairs with wide receivers, man. We haven't seen much crazy activity with running backs. I'm still waiting on Melvin Gordon resigning with Denver, but that's just me being toxic. So let's get into this Tyreek Hill fantasy impact. What does it mean for the entire offense? Tua, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, of course. Let's get right into the episode. So before we jump into it, make sure you guys check out the link in the bio, prizepicks.com. Sign up today using promo code FCO. You guys will be set up for success because they're still matching up to $100 when you use the promo code FCO. And if you put in 50, you get in 50. You put in 100, you get 100. It's free money. Double up. No football's not home, but there's other sports going on where you can make that money and bring that cash home. So let's get into it. Tyreek Hill is a Miami Dolphin, man. Did not see this trade coming. A lot of people were saying, they're rumbling saying Tyreek Hill is looking for an extension, and Tyreek Hill was asked to reconstruct his contract last year and et cetera, et cetera. He basically said no, and I'm out. So he's now a Miami Dolphin. What does this mean for fantasy? A lot of people are saying we have to move Tua up. If we think Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill can coexist, and they're both going to be electric wide receivers, which they absolutely are in real life outside of fantasy. But man, if we're going to have to move Tua up, where are we going to be placing him? Like, I want to touch on Tua first real quick. So if we're going to be looking at Tua, I'll say this, a lot needs to be improved. And I'm not going to hold him to only starting 12 games last year, with the injury, weird-ass injury. He played 13 but started 12. So I'm not going to hold him saying, the passing yards need to increase because he didn't finish the full season, technically. But we obviously know there's areas of improvement for Tua. I feel like now there's really no excuses, man. You got Jalen Waddle. You got Tyreek Hill. Mike Gesicki is back. You got Raheem Mostert and Chase Edmonds at running back. Man, this is going to be electric. At the moment, you still have Devontae Parker as well, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be cut or traded. Maybe they'll get some. But if we're going to be looking at Tyreek Hill, who's going to be stretching the field, now we look at Tua, the deep ball attempts need to improve. But on the lighter side, he was actually very accurate with the deep ball completions. I mean, he ranked second behind Derek Carr, and 50% of those passes are going to be completed. I like that. I like that number moving forward if we just can increase the deep ball attempts. He ranked 30th in the league. So 28 deep ball attempts, that's not that good. But hey, if he's making half of those, I'm all for it. And I definitely think there's obviously room for improvement for Tua in other areas. But the good thing about it is Tua is a very protected, quarterback in the pocket. Protected rate is at 89%, which is second in the league. And among quarterbacks with minimum 13 games played as a starter, he's the least most sacked quarterback. So he only had 20 sacks this year that, he was taken out, but at least you're not looking like, Joe Burrow. Yeah, led the league. But anyway, moving on. So air yards aren't that a lot. A lot of danger plays where he can clean up on, but I definitely feel as though Tua overall, when we're looking at it from a fantasy perspective, he definitely gets moved up in the ranks. So if we're going to try to say that, Waddle and Tyreek Hill are going to be inside the top 20 or inside the top 12, like we have to really think about what this means of moving Tua up. Now, there's two examples of where Tua could possibly still be outside of the top 15 or at 15. Who knows? So there's a possibility where he could be like Jared Goff in 2019, where Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods finish inside the top 15. But Jared Goff finished at QB 15. That's not that bad compared to where Tua is ranked right now, which is kind of on the outskirts of top 20. So I'm not mad at him moving the QB 15, but what does this really mean for Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill? What needs to be done? Obviously, again, the deep ball attempts need to increase. The accuracy is there. Like, he's going to make the pass, but they just need to increase so we can get something to have some substance, to have something to play with that number where it can actually mean something. I definitely think, Jalen Waddle remains the number one target there, so he's going to eat. He's going to get his targets. I mean, man, over 140 targets, man, you got to be kidding me, man. And Jalen Waddle's going to eat regardless. So I definitely think, with, this comparison I'm trying to make with Jared Goff at QB 15 with two wide receivers finishing inside the top 15, hey, we have to move Tua up at least at QB 15 or Another example where we have Teddy Bridgewater, in 2020 when he finished with 3 wide receivers inside the top 25, 2 inside the top 24. So I definitely think we can place him at QB 20. That's a little bit step up because right now 2 is at like QB 25, 24, 23, some areas, but just a little notch up at QB 20 where you can have 3 wide receivers or 2 wide receivers finish inside the top 20, or I'm sorry, it's top 24. So I definitely think it's possible. This is where the bar is between QB 15, QB 20 ish. Like, I just want to place him in between there somewhere based on Tyreek Hill being such a great stud talent. I definitely think, Tyreek Hill has a chance to elevate this offense as a whole. And Mike McDaniels, man, I definitely think he's going to be able to utilize Tyreek Hill as like a elevated, upgraded, completely just better, version of Debo in this offense. And it's going to be electric, man. And I think, when Daniels comes over, he's going to bring a very balanced offense. And I say that with, San Francisco finishing 6th in rushing attempts per game. And then they were like 31st in passing attempts per game, which is, again, balanced because it was 29 they're averaging rushing attempts and 29 passes per game. I definitely like, the balance there. So hopefully he could bring some of that swagger over, to Miami where it gets a lot more creative, where he has a lot of freedom to really do what he wants since he's the head coach. So I definitely think, again, Tua, he gets a little bump in the rankings, but I can honestly see Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill both finishing inside the top 15. This is definitely possible. I definitely think this could be a Jared Goff, Woods, Cooper Kupp situation in 2019. Not saying I'm comparing any of the talents, but I'm just saying this can be done with a mid-tier to low-tier quarterback able to have his guys perform. We've seen it with Big Ben. Big Ben, broken trash, but you have Deontay Johnson still benefiting from him, basically eating up all that volume, eating all those targets as well. So I definitely think it's possible for these guys to have a great fantasy impact on, on a lot of managers. So overall, we're looking at a situation where the target share becomes in question. Like, we got 2 of these guys that had 24%, 25% of target share. How's this going to split? Now, I definitely think, we can get a 20% target share out of Waddle, but again, this means Tua has to be hitting on all cylinders. This offense needs to look like the Rams offense where they can support 2 guys with, 20% or 18 to 20% target share. That's what we're really like hoping for out of Tyreek Hill and Waddle, because the volume, it needs to be there. The pass attempts obviously need to increase. This offense just needs to elevate from what it was last season to what we are going to hope that we can get out of Daniels' offense, basically what we see in San Fran. So I definitely like, the target order. I want to say it should be Waddle, Tyreek Hill to stretch the field, Mike Gesicki, and then 4th and 5th target. It has to go to Chase Edmonds or Cedric Wilson. I mean, Cedric Wilson's also there as the wide receiver 3, but basically target option, he's probably like 4 or 5. So he's probably not going to be fantasy relevant. I could see him probably getting 50, maybe 60 targets, but that's nothing to be wild about. That's nothing jumping off the paper for me to go out there and draft a Cedric Wilson in a later round. So I'm looking for guys that will give me some type of depth, that actually have some meaningful, position on my team. Because again, if you're the 4th, 5th option in offense, you're averaging like 2, maybe 3 targets per game. Like, nah, that's not going to do anything for my fantasy squad. And I don't really think he comes in as like a red zone junkie where he's going to be the guy that they're going to constantly target in the red zone. No, I don't see that happen. So kind of moving on from Cedric Wilson, the hype was there before Tyreek Hill, but Tyreek Hill is there now. So looking at other things as well. So with Tua, we already covered, what needs to improve, what possibly can improve. And I definitely think, again, what needs to improve the most is just overall play. So I'm not going to fault him again with him only playing 12 games, 13 games, whatever the case may be. So I'm not going to hold him to the highest standard where we should be, but we have to understand, with a new offense, a new head coach, there is a chance for improvement. So I'm not going to like be this whole burden on him, down talking him and downplaying him and stuff like that, because hey, the kid can improve. I definitely think, there's opportunity for improvement for most of the quarterbacks out there in the NFL. And Tua isn't excluded for, having a chance where he can actually be a top 15, top 10 quarterback. But to get inside the top 10, he will have to do a lot, man. He will have to be, again, playing like he's Matthew Stafford or playing like he's Josh Allen to even be in conversations of top 10 or even inch up there. You know what I mean? Like he would have to literally play better than a Kirk Cousins, a Derek Carr, Matt Ryan, and with Indy right now. These are names that he's gonna have to basically surpass by like a lot. But guys like Derek Carr, I don't see that happening when with Devontae Adams there. So I'm going to cover that in a different video. But again, I just wanted to give you my thoughts, give you my rants of what I feel about this trade as well. For the most part, if you're going to be drafting, Tyreek Hill is still, a top 10, wide receiver in my heart. He's still up there to be electric, but he does take a bump down. He's probably in the 12, 13 range for me right now, personally. Jalen Waddle, man, he's going to be a freaking baller this year, man. I definitely like, them going out and having this all-in attitude. And I definitely think Jalen Waddle, he still remains a solid wide receiver 2 piece. Yeah, he had, wide receiver 1 upside before the Tyreek Hill, but I kind of felt in a way that it just wasn't going to work out that way. They were going to do something because they wanted to go out and get guys for Tua to have the weapons around him. I mean, they already addressed the running back room. They brought him back the tight end, Mike Gesicki. So they want to win. They want Tua to be successful. So that's how you go out there and believe in your quarterback, by getting a Tyreek Hill. So I definitely think, where we're ranking Tua, like I said, is in between 15 and 20. So he could sit easily in between there, and he could be a nice value pick in drafts and in those mid rounds where you're probably like, all right, well, let me go ahead and take 2 off the board because all my other positions are solid and they're in stone. So there's that. And again, I definitely think, the running backs, they win in this as well. I mean, Raheem Mostert, obviously, if he can stay healthy, he's one of the fastest running backs out there. So hopefully he can stay healthy. Chase Edmonds does play a role in PPR formats where he's catching passes out of the backfield. I don't see his target share being anything crazy. I don't see it even being above 10 to 12%. I definitely think that's where he'll lie. I don't think he'll play such a huge role in this offense as everybody's believing. I'm not buying in the Chase Edmonds. You bought in last year and it didn't work out due to injury, but I think more so he's a featured player. He's not an RB1. So we're banking on, Raheem Mostert staying healthy just so a Chase Edmonds can exist in fantasy so he could be fantasy relevant, because him as RB1 when Raheem Mostert goes down, kind of hands off. I'm not too sure how that will go. I'm not too sure how that will pan out. So that's really all I got for you today. Just my reaction, my thoughts, and the fantasy impact with these guys. All these guys are going to be fantasy relevant, man. They're going to be electric, except for Cedric Wilson, of course, and maybe even Devontae Parker. I think if Devontae Parker gets cut before June 1st, just based on they want to save money, and they really don't have any good use for him. I don't know. I just don't know what's going to happen with him. Him and Preston Williams, man, big disappointments. But, hey, it is what it is. These guys can't stay healthy. You got to move on. It is business. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Please leave a comment below on what you guys think about the episode. And make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Leave a comment below and check out prizepicks.com. Promo code FCO when you guys sign up and you guys be set up for success. Double that money, man. Football's off right now. It's the off season, but there's other sports out there where you could double that cash and bring home the gold. So I'll see you guys next week for another great episode of Real Deal Fantasy HQ with your boy LQ. Peace.